This video took so much time to edit and put together, so I would appreciate any amount of support on this video. Right now I'm trying to figure out what content I want to do in the future. Now that Injustice 2 is out, do I want to branch out into other games? Do I want to stick within the fighting game genre? Do I want to stick within the superhero genre? There's a lot of questions about what I want to do with this channel in the future, and if you guys have any opinions about that, let me know in the comment section below, but I will allow you guys to get back to the video. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what your favorite loadout from this video is. I got every single character to level 20. None of this was bought with source crystals. I did this all on my own through leveling, just through the multiverse. And I've actually got epic gear on every single character in every single slot. And I wanted to show you guys some of my loadouts. The only character who is missing an epic slot is Black Canary. She does not have epic arm pieces, if I remember correctly. So that's the only character I don't have epic gear for. I wanted to show you guys some of that epic gear. So let's get into Aquaman. Obviously, this is what default Aquaman looks like. This is my first loadout for Aquaman. This is kind of just a standard look for him. Basically, the big thing that changes between these loadouts is the spear. As you can see here, this spear is a little bit different with the 3 tridents, and he's got kind of a crown going on. This one is less, I don't know, I guess it is still a crown, but this one looks more royal, if it makes any sense. We've got some spikes and things going on all over the place. And then my final loadout for him is actually my favorite loadout, mainly because of this trident. Looks awesome, the Trident of Neptune. And those shaders all look really cool as well. That one's red, blue, and then this one's kind of like a traditional Aquaman color palette. Next up is Atrocitus. This is actually my main character, so theoretically this should be my best loadouts. I haven't gone through the time to name these ones yet. They're just called ranked 1, 2, and 3. The third loadout, kind of an orange tint on the, I guess on the fiery bits. Blood Ash shader. I don't often use this one, but it's nice to have it to be able to switch to. And this is the one I use the most. This is my favorite loadout for him, looking really awesome with those spikes and the horns and everything, just looking awesome. Next is Bane. This is default Bane. Here is a luchador version of Bane. Basically, the only thing that really makes it luchador is the fact that the shader is called luchador. That's the reason why I got the loadout called lucha. Next up is Nightbreaker. A bit more of a traditional Bane look just because of the colors. I think it looks pretty nice. And then finally, we've got Priska. And I think this one looks really awesome. That's probably my favorite Bane loadout I've got. Next is Batman. This is, again, probably my secondary main. Right now, Atrocitus is the character I've been playing the most, but it's nice to have a pocket pick, and that is, of course, Batman for me. My first loadout is called the Knight. Basically, the only thing that really changes about this loadout is that awesome bat symbol there in the middle. Once I unlocked that bat symbol, I knew I wanted to make a loadout like this because using the default shader looks the best on this symbol. If you see if I can change the shader here, it just doesn't really look right with the other colors. I guess maybe Noir looks pretty nice, and same with Gotham's Hunter, but I really just like the traditional Batman look, so that's what we've gone with on this loadout. Next up is my Noir loadout, looking really, really slick. I love the helmet on this one, and obviously the arms also look really awesome as well. And I like the white cape as well. That's white on the other side as well, so it's completely a white cape. The only thing that's black is the trims around it, so yeah, I like that one a lot. Next up is my Ghost loadout, bit more of a different Batman, I guess. That's probably the first word that comes to mind. And really nice. This actually is a purely white cape. There's no black on it at all. Big fan of this loadout. I use this one the most. Black Adam is another character I'd like to put a lot more time into just because he's a lot of fun. My first loadout is just a capeless Black Adam. Traditional colors, but he's, you know, he's got no cape and he's got kind of a crown and the lightning bolt logo is going across his chest rather than directly down, which is where it normally goes. But a lot of default stuff on this loadout just to kind of make him look clean rather than like all armored up and stuff. So just kind of a more simple loadout. My next one is a bit of a call out to Shazam, obviously using the Shazam colors, or at least the Shazam Wisdom shader, and more of a traditional lightning bolt placement. Next up is my God loadout. I don't really use the God shader too much, as you guys are going to see throughout this video, but I think it looks particularly nice on Black Adam with this outfit, so that's what we've gone with there. I've actually got one more of these orbs, which I'm going to change right now. There you go. That's a different orb for him. So next is a Black Canary. This is default Black Canary. Again, I don't have any epic arm pieces for her, unfortunately. This first one is called Ashes. It's more of a traditional Black Canary look with purely black, no other colors there. Just kind of some armored out gear. We got some studs on the bottom there. Don't have the traditional fishnets. Oh no, there are fishnets sort of there on the side. But if we look closely at the face, this is actually the one with the star tattoo, so that's the reason why I've got that mask on. Normally, I don't like having a mask on her. Normally, I just go with the default look because I think it looks a little bit better than having any of these masks here because they don't really change much other than the tattoos. And my favorite tattoo that she's got there is definitely the little star, so that's why that's there. My next loadout is Ashes Yellow, so it's the same shader but an alternative to it. with a yellow jacket. And obviously I've changed up some of the gear there as well. And then Ollie's favorite is, well, it's Ollie's favorite. I named it Ollie's favorite based off of this piece of gear, which is obviously called Ollie's favorite for a very specific reason. Blue Beetle. Here is my God loadout for Blue Beetle. Usually I end up using God if I don't have alternative options for shaders. There's some shaders here that I'd really like to get for Blue Beetle, like this one, but I don't have it yet. This is probably the shader I would use on this loadout if I had it, but unfortunately we don't have it yet. Here's my Galactic loadout for Blue Beetle, looking much more cool. I definitely prefer this one over the previous one I showed you. His scarab kind of looks like a jetpack, which looks awesome. And finally, my Reach loadout, which is my favorite loadout for Blue Beetle, looking really fresh there with the gold tints. Next is Brainiac. My first loadout is Conqueror. This one's a bit more of a bulky build with the orange accents around the tentacles, which I think look particularly awesome. Next is a Knowledge. I've got the same accents, but this time we've got a blue shader on, so looks a little bit different. And his helmet is much more closed in, and we got some more epic gear for the shoulders and legs and etc. Next up is Tyrant. Bit of a Lex Luthor look thing going on, and we don't have the accents on the tentacles anymore. Instead, they look much more bulky, and there's some other gear changes you might have noticed. Next is Captain Cold. My third loadout is just a Mr. Freeze skin for him. My next loadout is Polar. Obviously, it's mostly white. And my final loadout is just called Snot, because I think this is probably the best shader for him, to be honest. His default shader looks perfect for Mr. Snot. If you go through here, as you can see, I'm not a huge fan of some of these shaders. Obviously, they're pretty cool. Like, this one looks really, really nice, but I don't like how it changes his skin to be all pale. I just like my more traditional look for Captain Cold with the default shader. I've called this loadout Thief because she's very clearly trying to conceal her identity with this one. I also like the golden whip here, and obviously it also changes the accents on her nails as well, which are also gold. And my final loadout is called Demon with the hood on and the black visor. The whip also has some, I guess they look like blades. Are they blades? But if you can see, if you look at the whip there, there's like indents in them, which I would suppose would make it much more harsh to get hit with, huh? My next character is Cheetah. This is one of the characters I enjoyed playing quite a lot. I've obviously got a Vixen loadout for her because Vixen is one of my favorite DC characters, so I'm very happy that she managed to show up in the game. We've got a loadout here called Prowler, and one called Bloodthirsty. Next up is Cyborg. I probably don't see myself returning to Cyborg in all honesty. He was fun to play, but I don't think I'm going to continue to play him. We've got Grid, we've got a loadout called Demon. The main reason I'm using the Demon skin here, or the Demon shader I should say, is because I don't have the really awesome Cyborg shaders unlocked. Like this one looks really cool. Man and Machine also looks really awesome. Unfortunately for me, I haven't unlocked any of those awesome shaders for Cyborg, but I'm not too upset about it because again, I'm probably not going to be playing a whole lot of Cyborg. It would still be nice to have those shaders. And then finally, we've got one called Vic, which has a pretty traditional look for Cyborg, but we've got some awesome epic gear on there to make him pop a little bit. Next up is Darkseid. My first loadout is called Omega. Kind of a more traditional look for Darkseid. This is the one I would play the most, probably. Next up, we have a bit more of a red look for Darkseid. The only thing I don't really like about this loadout is you can't really see the Omega symbol on his chest too much. I mean, you have to kind of be looking for it to see it. And this one is a bit gold. And I like this one a lot, like gold and bronze and all that stuff. Makes him look really cool. Next up is Deadshot. Now this one looks similar to his default look, but I've obviously changed up all the gear, but I've just kept the shader. I've actually haven't kept the shader. I've gone to the alternative version. This is my God loadout for him. I like this one because it turns the black mask into a fully golden mask, which I think looks very awesome. And this one's just called Caliber, looking very tech heavy. Next is Dr. Fate. He has some of the coolest looking gear in the game in my opinion, so let's get into it. Unfortunately, I haven't named these loadouts yet, but here's the first one. Kind of a black and white look for Dr. Fate. This is kind of my standard one that I run. I like this one just because the symbols, the ankhs, which is a very strange word to pronounce, are bright orange, and I think that looks particularly cool. I really wish there was a toggle on these demon loadouts to change their eyes back to the regular color eyes. And my third and final loadout has the default shader, but a lot of really awesome looking gear. I like this one a lot. I would use this a lot if I played Dr. Fate. I want to start learning Dr. Fate, but he seems very technical to me, so I would have to put quite a lot of time into him to really get what I want out of him. My next character is Firestorm, and much the same goes for him. I'd like to play this character a lot more, but again, so much time would need to be put into this character in order to play him the way I would want to. My first loadout is called Ronnie, and it's just got the Ronnie's new suit shader and a lot of really cool looking epic gear. Next is Death with the fully blacked out helmet, so we can't see his face anymore. I don't know, whenever I use the Deathstorm shader, I prefer to have the fully covered up helmet. This one also looks really cool with like kind of the more traditional Firestorm colors. Next up is the Flash. Obviously, I've got a Jay Garrick loadout. This loadout is called Breakneck, and it's just kind of a purple loadout for the Flash. I think it looks pretty cool. Next up is Pursuit. Unfortunately, this is the alternative version of Pursuit, though, so it doesn't look as good. Here is what regular Hot Pursuit would look like. I really want to get that one for this loadout. I haven't put a lot of thought into my Flash loadouts because, in all honesty, most of the time when I'm playing the Flash, I like to play Jay Garrick, so I haven't put a lot of time into these gear sets, but just gives you an idea of what you can do with them. Next is Gorilla Grodd. Here we have Mindbender, bit of a more standard loadout for him. Got some armor on. Next up is King. I wanted to make him look a little bit more minimalistic with this loadout. The reason why it's called King is just because the shader is called King of the Jungle. And then finally, I've got this loadout, which I'm calling Paladin, because it kind of looks like a traditional Paladin from any medieval story or like World of Warcraft or something like that. And I like it quite a lot. This is my favorite Gorilla Grodd loadout I've got. Next is Green Arrow. Here I've got an Arsenal loadout, pretty traditional look for him. Unfortunately, we don't have a Red Hood Premier skin yet, so this is the closest we can get. Next up is Maya, just a yellow look for him. He's got a little bit more tech on his suit as well. And Robin Hood, which is a more traditional Green Arrow look. I had a lot of fun making the Green Lantern loadout. Our first loadout here is just called God, bit of a White Lantern look thing going on. Then we have Death, which is obviously kind of meant to be a little bit of a take on the Blackest Night theme. Looking pretty sweet. And obviously we've got a Red Lantern Hal Jordan, looking fresh. Harley Quinn has some of the best gear in the game in my opinion, so this was a lot of fun for me. Here we've got Mad Love, which is a bit of a more traditional look for the Harley Quinn. Sanity Check, which kind of uses up that little helmet that she's got. That's one of my favorite gear pieces in the game, actually. I think it looks really good. This is probably my favorite Harley loadout that I've got. And then Hell on Wheels, or Hell on Heels, I should say, which is a pretty cool name for a shader, if you ask me. Next up is the Joker. This one utilizes that Jester's hat that he can get. His knife looks pretty cool too with the multiple edges. Next up we have got Clown Prince, bit more purple and green going on. And obviously the Bat Cow. Finally, Wild. This is the Joker loadout I use the most, although I don't play Joker a whole lot. But when I do, this is the Joker I will run. Poison Ivy. My first loadout is called Seductress, obviously because that's what the shader is called. Next up is Dr. Isley. This is probably my favorite loadout for her. And then Kiss of Death. Alright, Robin. Robin and I had a lot of fun doing all of his gear. First of all, we have Damien's Regret. Bit more of a thin sword there. And obviously the black and red look looking very cool. And the tethered cape is Red Robin. Obviously the white and red look. And this one's a bit more of a sturdy sword. There's no indents in it at all, it's just kind of a straight sword. And then we've got a Nightwing loadout for him. Just got the default sword on here, just because I want it to look kind of standard. And everything else about the loadout looks like Nightwing, of course. Or at least as close to Nightwing as you can get through gear, I think. Scarecrow has some of the best gear in the game. I love it, it's so cool. First is Chemophobia, which is meant to be kind of just of a more standard look for him. Nothing really complicated, but I still think it looks really cool. This shader, I think, brings out those, like, kind of, I don't know what you would call it, but the glowing parts of his suit. Not his suit, but you understand what I mean. The parts on his body, which glow, they stand out a lot with this shader. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce this word, but damn, this looks awesome. This is, like, my favorite. I really like the Voodoo Doctor mask he's got going on, and then, like, the trench coat, the fact that all that stuff behind him moves is very cool. And the hook also looks awesome as well. I'm a huge fan of this loadout. And then Demon. This is one of the characters I'm okay with using the Demon shader on because it doesn't change his eye color. It's still dark red. And that makes much more sense than just having the character have the blacked out eyes. The blacked out eyes does look cool at first, but for me personally, I'd really like the option to be able to disable them. So yeah, usually I only end up using the Demon shader on characters that doesn't really affect. Like in this case, it doesn't really affect Scarecrow. So we use it on Scarecrow. Alright, we're almost out of characters here. Next up is Supergirl. Unfortunately, I've got a little bit of a bug here with Supergirl. As you can see here, I've got a level 20, but unfortunately, I don't have the loadout that you unlock at level 10. So that's a little bit weird. First of all is Phantom. I like this look a lot. This is usually the look I run when I'm playing online. Sorrel. I really like this shader, and I think the skirt looks particularly good with it. And obviously, the armor and the shoulder pads also look really cool. And next is Girl of much more traditional look for Kara. I really can't decide when I play Supergirl. I love all of these loadouts. I think I don't know. I want to use Girl of Steel, but I also want to use Phantom, and I also want to use Sorrel. They all look really awesome to me, so Supergirl is actually one of my favorite characters in this game. Next is Superman. I probably have the most epic gear for Superman out of all my characters. Got my Bizarro loadout. Obviously, it doesn't look exactly like Bizarro, but I just called it Bizarro because the shader is called Bizarro's Worst. And also, I've got the backwards S. Next up is Godfall. Again, this doesn't exactly look like Godfall from the comics, but it's supposed to give off that vibe, obviously, with the shader. Next up is Justice. Bit more of a traditional look for Superman, but I decided to use this shader because I think this shader looks much better than his default shader, at least with this particular gear set. Now for the second last character, Swamp Thing. My first loadout is called the Guardian. I like this one a lot. Very cool. It's obviously got the sword as well. Rampant is actually my true favorite loadout for Swamp Thing, mainly because the club and the glowing orb on the end of it looks really cool. And he's much more spiky, and he just looks villainous in this look, so I like that one. This one's a bit more traditional. It's called Overgrown. The big thing about this one is there's a lot of that, like, glowing pus thing all over him. I don't know what you would call that, but a lot more of that on this loadout than there is on any of the other loadouts, as you can see. Finally, Wonder Woman. Obviously, I've got a loadout for Wonder Woman, which is her movie skin, or her movie gear, and that looks really cool. That is the full movie set there. Looking awesome. I'm a huge fan of this. I'm so glad that they did manage to get this into the game. This next gear set is a little bit similar, but what I have changed is I've changed the helmet. As you can see there, it's a little bit like the new 52 look she has, and also the shader kind of makes it look a little bit like her new 52 outfit. Obviously, it's not quite because the red should be on her breastplate and the kind of bluish gray should be on her skirt, but it gives you that vibe, and also the shield is different from the movie loadout as well, as you can see, and also the same with the helmet as well. And then this last one is a complete custom look with the pink and the shield looking very, very different. I'm a huge fan of this loadout as well. I honestly don't know which one of these loadouts I would run if I actually played Wonder Woman. I'd probably end up running the movie Wonder Woman because movie Wonder Woman is awesome. You guys would actually be so surprised how long this video took me. It took so much time, so any amount of support would be super appreciated. My name has been Bilbsy, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.